A very warm welcome back to you and welcome to the World Championship Series Season 1 2015. We're deep into the round of 32 now and Group F is well underway as well. Both our opening matches have been concluded, so let's show you how the results have panned out via the bracket. There you go on your screen right now. Cyril and Naniwa through to the winners bracket and Suppy and Has will be our next game. These two are going to face each other for their remaining place and to stay in contention in Group F. And James, do you feel like that might have been fairly predictable in the end when we've looked at the results, or were you expecting something different?
Yeah, I was expecting it to go this way as things play out. I've known of Cyril for quite a long time, having lived in Finland for a while. And
yeah, here comes that Finnish knowledge.
Yeah, I should probably leave that alone. I've talked about that way too much. But he's been rising through the ranks, and it was clear that he was going to, or it was clear to me at least, that he was going to give a strong performance today. So, but gunning for first place out of those two, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be fun a little bit later on. I mean, I made a remark earlier on that he's kind of like the unknown European, if you like. We've known about it for a long time in Europe because he's been doing, Copenhagen Games and DreamHacks galore, but worldwide and on the bigger stage in WCS, because he hasn't been old enough, of course, he hasn't been seen. So from that perspective, it's great to see him finally get to the WCS and show us what he's got. But, when we talk about his age, it's important because when you look at the likes of Life and Maru over in Korea, they're just the same age. And we've got our own version.
If not older now.
Yeah, well,
I'm not
17
sure.
Life
yeah,
now,
just a little bit.
Yeah.
He's the Finnish phenom, man. That's how it's going. And I think he's got so much room to mature throughout. 2015 could be a very, very good year for him in the Premier League.
Okay, let's focus on our lower bracket game now. These two have got a lot to play for now, Suppy and Has. Both, very experienced players. They've had their time, as it were, as well. We've talked about Has being young, but he's played in plenty of tournaments. He knows what the pressure's like. He finished third in the Taiwan Open last year, so he's got that experience. He knows how to come back out of a group when he's down. But how are they both affected by their various performances in the first game, do you think?
The way Has played the PvP is Has. And the standard that Todd was mentioning earlier wasn't quite as standard as we were really expecting. So, and then Has will just kind of keep that same kind of mentality going into this series, do very similar kind of things, maybe. So I don't think it affects him a whole lot. And likewise, I don't think it affects Suppy's will affect it too much. I think he has a good mentality when he approaches the game, actually.
Right. I think it's a good thing that Suppy met Has not straight away, but in the loser bracket, because in between the games we were upstairs speaking, and he realized how sneaky Has can be and try to hide the building, always hiding his tech. So what you scout actually is never what he is doing, and you always have to expect something else. So now he's aware of that, and he won't be duped, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting how they match up. In terms of the way that PVZ is right now, what do you expect from the game? What do you expect the styles to be?
I actually don't know if Has is... sorry. I think Swarmos, sadly. I think that's the only thing we will see, and it's going to be fun.
Okay. Do you think Suppy's going to go Swarmhouse?
Suppy will try his best to win first, but if he can't, he will go back to the basic Swarmos. And the issue is like Suppy will play defensive. That's the way I see him play. And Has is the one who will be aggressive because he has like the sneaky strategies. And if he doesn't manage to win on that, it's going to go to Swarmos, and we'll just sit back and enjoy the lovely show.
Okay, all right. Well done.
Thanks.
Well put. We've seen this style quite a lot, actually, in the 4 days of StarCraft that we've seen, in the sense that the Zergs, particularly when they're playing Protoss, will try and avoid going Swarmhost for as long as possible and try and play straight up. And then at some point they transition, kind of like around mid-game. And because... Why? Because they've run out of options, or because they don't feel that they're ahead, or they feel like they're behind? Because, I mean, Pig did the same thing when he was massively ahead the other day and still switched. So what is it about that for Zergs in particular?
Well, I would think I have to go back to Snoot, actually, and when I'm addressing this kind of question. And it's something that he actually did very, very well, which was find these really, really strong initial mid-games of Roach Hydra kind of base tactics that did put the Protoss under a lot of threat, and they couldn't really get into a good position to then stop the idea of a Swarmhost transition coming along. Because if you can hit in that window, then you can actually do some damage as a Protoss, but you've got to be very finite about it. And the Roach Hydra initial move move before the Swarm host kind of eliminates that window and makes it very, very hard for Protoss to do anything. So that's one of the good reasons why I think it's come out.
Okay, and some of the Protoss have been dealing with this by just literally overdosing on Colossus and getting on top of the Swarm host to try and get rid of them.
Good.
So, yeah, we've seen that in the past. Are we expecting that to come out?
I think that's like just the easy solution, because when you see Swarm was coming, you just think, I want to finish this game as soon as possible. So you don't think I'm going to switch air, because if you switch air, it's going to take 1 hour to get the upgrades or anything like going up. So the only easy solution is just to go like 6 Colossus, 8 Colossus, Swarms, and go inside and finish it. And usually it doesn't work, sadly. And you were speaking about Zergs trying always to finish quickly, and I believe Zergs actually don't really enjoy playing Swarm Wars. It's just like a backup plan, a safe backup plan. And Zergs are usually really quick players. They like to run bys and play left and right and make the opponent move a lot. And with Swarm Wars, it's just a different playstyle. You would just like sit and wait, and it's kind of annoying for someone who's used to be really active on the map.
Yeah, says a Zerg.
It's a counterintuitive playstyle, as he's mentioning. It's a little bit slower. You slow down that pace. You're sat in the middle of the map, not really doing a whole lot for the most part, apart from making sure that when they come near you, you're ready to abduct and deal a little bit of damage.
Indeed. All right. Well, thank you very much, both of you. Our final question, of course, is which one goes through? It's a tricky one between these two.
Honestly, I'm really confused on this one. It's hard to give a call. Go ahead first, James.
He's clever at doing this, you know. He's getting better.
He actually bided his time there, just for a little bit to eke that in.
And you are as well, I think, right now.
Stop stalling.
I don't know. This is really close, actually, because the two styles are very, very different. And again, you don't really get to see players from these regions really compete against one another, which is something that's cool in the new WCS system. So I'm going to go with Suppy. I'll go with
Okay, all right.
I'll do the same, Suppy.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be extremely close, and a lot of unexpected situations coming up.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Let's head over to our commentators for our loser bracket game to see which man can stay in contention for a place in the round of 16. Will it be Haas from Taiwan or Suppy from America? Let's find out.
Thank you very much, Red Eye, and welcome to the Caster's Desk here for the Elimination game. And I think over the last couple of days, we've done a lot of Elimination games together. Every time I say that, I look over and it's always you next to me, and I think this has happened more than once now.
It's going to become a thing.
We just do the Elimination games with the Elimination casters.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah, and that's when you tune in, you hear our voices, you know it's a serious cast, because one of these players is going to be eliminated in last place in today's group, the last group that the WCS is going to be having over here in Europe before going back over to America next weekend. What are your thoughts then on this matchup that we're about to jump into? We heard Stefano's, we've heard Colaris's and Red Eyes. What do you think?
Haz is a wild player, but he's predictable. That I guess, to some extent. I'm not going to say he's that predictable just like that. It's predictable that he's going to do very aggressive builds, very cheesy builds. The question is which one and what has Suppy prepared to try and cast and counter that. Because if he has nothing particular prepared, because if he treats this guy here on your screen as a regular player, I'm pretty sure this is going to go horribly for him. You cannot treat Haz like a regular player. You need to adjust to his style.
And what is the best way to adjust?
Pick builds that generally will be very good against the kind of cheese that Haz likes to go for. Like, for example, Haz, he likes to cannon rush, he likes to do big pylons block. Doing something like a pull first will make you a lot safer against all of these kind of plays. Go the extra mile with the scouting, especially with your second overlord, for example. Where is he looking at?
He's staring Haz down.
Haz not even looking at him.
Like, he keeps looking over, he's like, you look at me, man. The moments before a player jumps into game, as Haz not really staring back at Suppy, as he's just kind of waiting at his monitor. We are just waiting to be able to jump in this one. Haz just 17 years of age, our second youngest player in the WCS, our youngest being Cyril, also in this group, of course. One of these will move on to fight in the decider game a couple of games from now, which will be a game against the loser of either Cyril or Naniwa. But tension's starting to build up between these two players as the referee's just holding this on for a little second. Do you think Suppy has it within him to be able to take down Haz here? Both experts on our desk said that Suppy would win. Do you think this too?
I don't know if I would go as far as saying Suppy will win, but I think he definitely can win. I'm not sure actually for that match who's my favorite. I feel like it's a very open match in terms of possibilities and, you know, who's going to do well and win. Generally speaking, though, or just in general, Zerg has been doing really well this season of WCS. So many of them made it out of the group, and one of them is in the winners match, I guess, which was inevitable because it was a ZPZ first. But here, Suppy, is he really the underdog going up against us?
I don't know. Well, let's find out who's going to be able to move on or who is going to get eliminated in our first map here. Expedition lost down here to the bottom left-hand side. Spawning as the red Protoss player, playing for Yowie Flash Wolves from Taiwan. It is Haas. Traveling over to compete in his very first StarCraft tournament in Europe. Whereas on the other side, also his first time in Cologne, it is the blue Zerg player playing for Team Evil Geniuses. It is Suppy.
Looking at Haas's pylon, it already tells us a lot, Apollo. There is most likely going to be a forge made right next to it, and either a cannon rush or a pylon block. It's still my prediction, I guess. I'll be very, very surprised if Haas goes for a Nexus first here.
Okay, well, let's just follow his probes and then see if one goes down very, very shortly. Because for every second that it doesn't go down, it is going to be delayed. And there is the probe. So the forge is going to be incoming here. And Suppy's anti-cannon build defense drone usage has to come into play.
Yeah. I hope for him he's not going hat first. Yeah, here we go. It's going to be a pull. Only suicidal Zergs, Apollo, go for hat first against this guy.
Yes, that is true. Of course, Haas made his name off the back of a upset victory against Jaedong in Season 1, 2014 within the WCS, where he had that famous 5-pylon wall into, well, or with his cannon rush. A gateway has been built as well, by the way, here.
Ooh, both of the probes here are going to be seen by the overlords of Suppy, so he already knows pretty much what's happening here. Still going to start a hatchery down his ramp. And
pylon number 1, pylon number 2, and we have a wall. Cannon behind this wall cannot reach the hatchery, but it's the cannons that will be on the other side of this wall that will be supported by the one behind this.
Yeah, they will be there to protect...
oh, and look at this, has the probe blocking that gold in case Suppy was to take it.
Oh, he didn't cancel the second pylon. He could have cancelled, escaped with the probe, and then went back in. So that probe's going to be stuck there, I guess, for now. He's going to have to use the second probe.
Oh, the second probe's not moving yet.
Oh, he blocks... He perfect walls here, Has. He didn't want to get his natural blocked by hatchery. Pretty clever.
Zealot on the way too. It's going to be very frustrating if that comes over to support this cannon rush. First cannon is complete, and now we're going to see this probe move up in front of these two pylons, which Suppy is looking at.
By the look of things, Suppy wants to try and hold with Zerglings and Queens. He's even getting a spine in his main, which is going to be able to walk down the ramp, but Has... Surely, I feel like in this situation, he has 10,000 times more experience than Suppy. Like, really.
Yeah.
Suppy probably faced this, like, what, 1 or 2 times, at most, probably 0 times. Has does this every single day on the ladder.
Well, 3 cannons are on their way. One's about to complete to go 2 in total here. He's got to act fast before these do, and he goes right in, and he's going to target that 1 cannon that's finishing up more on the way. We've got Zerglings on the left-hand side to try to bring these 2 down, but that cannon at the back is dealing a lot. The cannon at the front is dealing even more.
He needs to move the spine. He forgot about the spine here for a little bit of time.
Very slow there, and more cannons are being built. The spine crawler crawls its way down this ramp. More and more cannons being added on, and that Zealot finally making its way over.
The probe is blocking the spine.
Excellent usage. Spine is crucial in this defense. Very nice there by Haas. Another cannon's going to have to be cancelled, but the others are going to finish up here. Can he still defend this?
Yeah, he should be able to. He has a transfuse available with the Queen here. A second cannon on the left-hand side is going to finish, though. Suppy with his second Queen coming down the ramp. He's down to 13 drones to 20 probes. Behind this, the Nexus already started here for Has. This is already an economic lead.
Yeah, this is a great start here by Haas, even though the supply's not really showing it. More and more units get taken down, but eventually he'll be able to clean this up, but he will take a lot of damage in doing so. All these Zerglings taking more and more.
Suppy's being impatient. He doesn't need to be attacking with all the links. He finally pulls them back, but he lost so many of them. He's down to 3 links, and there is a Zealot on the map now for Has.
Cannon rush over. Let's have a look at the damage then. The probe to work a difference between the 2 of them. 27 Zerglings were slaughtered in that defense, 2 probes and the single zealot, but it is 22 probes, 19 workers in terms of drones, that is, with the Nexus almost complete. Who is ahead?
I feel like Has, but maybe just slightly. Because,
not by a lot.
Yeah, in terms of tech, he's going to be able to start the Cybercore now, and he has a few more walkers. The thing is, Suppy already has double Queen out, so he's going to be able to inject and try and catch back up. Definitely Has. He is ahead right now. Okay. I'm just not sure about how much just yet.
Well, as that Cybernetics core finishes up here, it's just at the halfway mark currently. He'll be able to choose his next tech choice or next kind of way to approach this game.
Suppy is actually really struggling getting drones out right now. I guess he was more broke than I thought in terms of drones. Like having just so much less drones than he usually would have had because of this cannon rush, and having so many links forced to be made out of his opponents puts him in a pretty bad spot economically here. He's finally caught back up, 30 probes to 29 drones, but this is not where you want to be at early on in a game like this. And the Robo has already started. This is Has can just go for a Soul Train. There is so many options for him of what he can go for here.
Has is looking at his opponent's third and didn't see it up to the north. It looks like the Zealot's going to track its way over here to check this other location. But yeah, the robotics facility is on its way. Also, +1 attack has started. There is only a single overload close to be able to stop or scout this. Should I say scout this, not stop it?
Yeah, I really like that Suppy is clearing this ice, by the way. Definitely going to help in defending possibly in the future. The thing is, with such a quick Robo, Has can do a super early timing. And by that, I mean later than usual, obviously, because you open with the cannon rush, but with really anything he wants. If he wants to go for a War Prism or Immortals, it's going to be so hard for Suppy to have enough units out to be able to defend well. But he goes for an Observer first.
Yeah, he did choose Warp Prism and then decided against it. And cancelled it, chose the Observer instead.
Goes for Gateway. It's actually around his ice in his base to start and wall this off a little bit here.
The Warp Prism's now the second unit after that Observer.
And he's getting sentries, so I wonder what exactly he's going to go for. Maybe sentries in the middle line to try and force field that off. He might just try to go for the sentry drop in the main where you force field the ramp. The thing is, there is 2 ramps.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah. 2 ramps here. Going to be more difficult to pull that off, obviously. But Suppy realizes something's going on. He doesn't know exactly what because he hasn't seen the robotics facility, but seeing gateways finishing up, always a bit of a scare when you see that happening. He's already got a Spine Crawler, a second one being added to the first one. The Roach Warren's finished up, Zergling Speed's on the way. Unit production has started at a minimal, currently 49 drones.
Suppy knows that this third base is going to be the target of Has. That's where he's going to be attacking. Has actually could just remove the creep here. Maybe even kill the rock tower in the middle of the map.
He's got 2 creep tumors with the Observer there that's helping out this Zealot.
Yeah, he's going to clean that. He could kill the rock tower and then attack on the right-hand side, but I guess that will need enough time for Suppy to kill this himself again. Yeah, the sentry drop on the ramp is not going to happen here, at least for now. Unless Suppy really messes up, this really shouldn't do much.
Well, Suppy's unit production started very early in this game. He's now going to squeeze out 7 drones as he feels comfortable to deal with this Warp Prism to start with. And we see a drop and a couple of force fields to be able to pick up this Queen. Decent control coming out from Has. Saves 3 out of the 4 for picking up the Queen.
This, by the way, should be the latest drones out of Suppy. He knows that right now there's no third base out of Has, and he knows that he's up again Has, which is definitely enough information to know that there's going to be
6 more drones have just been added on, and he's trying to get towards this Hydralisk den. Roach Speed's on its way. Creep spread was slowed down a little bit here, but we are going to see this push. 2 Immortals are out, 3rd one's on its way, extra gateways are finished up as well, and he's going to move out very shortly with, what was that, about 6 sentries?
Yeah, quite a few. He's preserving those that he has around the map in his War Prism alive. But Suppy right now knows what's up. 12th minute mark, still no third started here for Has.
And here we go. Here we go. Choo choo! As Parting once said.
All right. Suppy was actually the one to really give Parting a run for his money back in that WCS Season 1. When they met, he was up 2-0 up against the Parting, held the Soul Train twice, but then Parting brought it back and won 3-2. So Suppy, let's just agree that he has a ton of experience against this kind of play.
Well, the more time he has, the better it is for him because he's adding more and more Hydralisk, the crucial unit in being able to defend this type of attack. But it is Sentry Immortal with a couple of Zealots, and we will see more warped in from this Warp Prism.
I shouldn't engage too early. He should just bait force fields. He's going to do just that. Bait's a single one so far. The more Hydralisk he gets,
The
And if he gets range, yes, exactly. And then range is about to finish here too. I really like Suppy's position.
Observer in perfect positioning here. And he clears up one creep tumor slowly. It's going to try to push up this ramp here. Any second now, Suppy's going to pounce.
Suppy is doing this great. He's not going in. He pulls back every time on time. Force field's going to go down.
Catches two Hydrals there, but Suppy is not going to go in yet. He baits another set of force fields coming.
He's baiting so well. This is actually super hard to do, but he finally goes for the fight, and Haz has a lot.
Yeah, Haz has a lot here, and this is a good fight, but not the best fight from Suppy. He's losing quite a lot here to force fields, but he does bring one of the Immortals down. So bringing one of those down is going to help quite a bit. Bringing two of them down, excuse me, is going to continue on with the assault. And there's a lot of Hydralists now. That was only really Zerglings there that Suppy lost. 30 supply difference between the both.
And the sentry's out of energy. I think there is about, what, 6 force fields left and no Guardian Shield. All of a sudden, it's become so much harder here for Haz to fight.
Transfuse on that spine. And Suppy gets ready to pounce again. Haz looking for a different angle. Going to come around this left-hand side. Like you said, not too many force fields available.
Suppy on 60 drones, by the way, to 45.
Yeah. Oh, 3 force fields down south here. So Haz is going to try and take the fight to one of the armies. But
he's going to move down there, maybe, and force field behind him, going to the natural and force field the ramp. Suppy needs to react. And maybe head into his main, but he's not doing that.
Whoa.
Evacuate! He's evacuating.
Yeah, all the drones are going to escape, but this hatcheries are gone. You can force field that ramp easily, just a single force field there. But Suppy's coming from behind now. But Haz has the high ground. He's able to force field twice to the left, once to the right. Is going to be able to keep this base to himself. But soon, we will see Suppy go through here. But Haz is going to start to trade a lot of these units.
He gets it. Oh, this is a massive deal here.
And Haz is trying to make a run for the hills here. He's trying to get into this main base and then forceful behind him to lock himself in.
Suppy is sending some of his army on the right-hand side to go up into that main. I don't know. Haz might not be aware of it. If he doesn't force field on the right-hand side, those units are going to go up and he's going to be defended.
All right, let's see if Suppy can make this defense now. There's not too much supply difference between the two of them. There's still a lot of sentries, still a lot of stalkers. A couple of force fields do come down. Very nice force fields there, those 4. And a bunch of reinforcements come from a pylon down south, going to get to work on that hatchery. And the supply difference, not that much between the two of them. And I think Haz's maneuverability here has worked out very well for him.
Yeah.
But he is going to start to lose these expensive units. The Immortal goes down, and the Stalkers will go as well. And the third was kept alive. Remember, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know how many drones were lost, but I don't think he lost too much.
Yeah, he lost 15 in that last attack. And that brings him down to 43 drones to 45 probes, but he can just drone back easily. Or even go for an attack himself. He has so many Hydralisks against a Protoss who's not going to have that many sentries, waste a lot of energy.
Very nice play here from Suppy. A good attempt to turn this around here from Haz, realizing that he wasn't going to break that third, attempted to run around, but it is Suppy who comes out of this as a winner, chasing the Protoss out of his main base. And now a decent advantage for the American moving in to the 18th minute.
This many Hydralisks, 16 in total, against no Colossus. This is going to be tough here for Haz. If he had the mid shield at the front, if he had a lot of Zealots to use with Guardian Shield to tank for the Immortals to do the work, he might be okay, but I really don't feel like that's the case here. He doesn't even have any Stalker to do any damage behind. This is 65 army supply for Suppy to 45 for Haz.
Whoa.
The force field is going to be key again, though.
Yeah, Guardian Shield up, couple of force fields do land on this right-hand side, but there's a lot here for Suppy. These Zealots are charging in, but they die before they even really get close here. A couple of retreating force fields get landed by Haz. He tries to run back to another Immortal. He's trying to take the gold base at the same time. More units are trying to be warped in, but Suppy, with Hydralisk speed on the way, and a lot more Hydralisk and Zerglings trying to reinforce this, he's going to sit outside Haz's base and wait for him to come down. He's going to find that gold base with his reinforcements.
The never-ending lockdown Apollo is going to force Haz to move down the ramp to try and make something happen, but Suppy is going to be ready. I mean, that position is going to negate force fields greatly, but actually Suppy is missing quite a bit of his reinforcements.
He's ready to wrap around the American flag, around these units, and as we can see, the Zealot's not doing too well here. Good force was on the left, stopping a lot of those Zerglings from charging in. But in a second, we are going to see the Zerglings wrap around everything here, and Suppy's going to push him back from where he came from. GG is called. Suppy takes game number 1 against Haz. And Haz now must fight truly for elimination in this next map, as Suppy moves 1 game away from knocking him out.
Very good game here out of Suppy. You know, the initial hold against the cannon rush was not the best. He was indeed behind, but Haz go for a build that Suppy knows how to counter, that he's been playing against forever. Back in Wings of Liberty, you know, it was already the case. A lot of Protosses resorted to the Soul Train to try and get wins up against Zergs. And Suppy just... the experience showed here. He just got enough drones, exactly enough drones, 60. He cut behind this. I thought it might be a little bit too many, but in the end, he was okay. He made enough units. He baited the force field. This is probably, I would say, the best thing that he did this game. Baiting the first set of force fields, making Has run out after just one single big fight of force fields and Guardian Shield is a massive deal. If he hadn't done that, he might have just lost. Even with the units that he had, it would have actually been still much harder. The one thing I would say that wasn't that great is that he hadn't anticipated that possibility for Has to go into his natural and force fill him out, which has maybe got a little bit hasty as well. If he had just stayed in the natural, killed that, you know, made sure he wiped out everything that was there, then moved back home and tech to Colossus, taken the goal there, this could have been a different game because the sentries would have been building up on a lot more force fields and energy, and then he can trade a lot better and fight.
So far, so good here for EG Suppy. Moving into game number 2. It's going to be Vaani Research Station. We're expecting Has to open up this one with fireworks once again, as he's done throughout today.
Possibly. The thing is, on this map, I feel like with the way the natural base is easily takeable, if that's even a word, it's going to be hard to really make something happen in terms of Has here with something like a cannon rush. But if there was one guy to go for it and pull it off, I guess it'd be him.
Time for game 2. All right, here we are, up to the north of Vaani Research Station. Spawning in is the red Protoss player, playing for Yowie Flash Wolves. It is Has. Representing Taiwan here in Europe today. And down here to the south of Vaani Research Station, it is the American, playing for Team Evil Geniuses. It is Suppy. And I have a question to ask you, Todd.
Yes, Apollo, go ahead.
Has was born in 1997. Does this make you feel old?
You know what's funny? Has is on the same team as San Apollo, and they have nothing in common. They are literally,
what does that even mean?
They are literally the opposites.
What does that mean?
From each other in terms of style.
You completely dodged the question, and then you said something completely irrelevant to that.
I only answer.
You only answer in StarCraft. That was a great question. I thought you were actually answering that question with that. I was like, wait, what? How has SAD got anything to do with 1997?
By the look of things, by the way, he's going to go for a gateway here, most likely. Or I guess no, on this map, since you can take an expansion so easily, I guess putting down the pylon here doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go for one. Which Suppy still goes for a pull first anyway. Even on that map, he's worried about the potential, you know, cheese or cannon rush that he could be facing. And he's actually, I guess, to some extent, being very safe with his overlords, sending the first one more through the right-hand side to see immediately if there is a nexus being planted down, and the other one through the left-hand side. And by the look of things, Suppy is going to be taking that one base that is harder to take first.
Why do you think he took that one over the back one? Isn't it more dangerous?
He's against a cheesy Protoss who loves all-ins. So if there was to be a 2-base all-in, taking that base first, it allows you to start with the creep spread much earlier. On this map, it's also fairly easy, I would say, to spot any kind of probe or proxy pylon being planted down close to your base. If you have well-placed overlords, if you have the watchtower and all that. So it makes perfect sense to go for that one first.
So what do you think about Suppy and Suppy's thought process? The first overlord now is going to enter the natural, and he's going to see this nexus first. And he's playing against Has. But what do you think is going to go through Suppy's mind? He's like, what does this Nexus first mean for Suppy? Do you think this is going to power something up for the mid-game? Is that kind of his thought process?
The thing is, when you go for Nexus first like this, into a gateway, 2-base cheeses or all-ins, anything really that you can do early on and go for an attack with, is going to be very, very strong, because you not only open economically, but you completely skip on the forge. You start with your gateway and tech very early on in the game. But actually, Has is doing something already not particularly ordinary. He's boosting out a Zealot. I wonder if he wants to be aggressive or if he saw the Zerglings and kind of panicked, because I don't think he had to particularly boost that.
I think it is... Oh no.
Oh
no.
Let's him get in.
Oh no.
And this is great here for Suppy, because if any... Okay, never mind, he's just going to leave. I was going to say, if any Stargate or anything like that is being thrown down now, or Twilight Council, you will see it immediately. But I guess he just left and...
He's got the Overlord.
Yeah, he has that, but that will get shut down. The Stalker is being chrono boosted out, but what that means is that he's not going to be chrono boosting out probes instead.
What do you think about Suppy just working on one queen for the time being and spending all of his money on lava and drones rather than actually trying to save to get out a queen, like a second one? And his second usage of the queen was for a creep tumor too.
I guess since he went for a gas and speed, he doesn't really have that much money anyway, so it's okay. But he should definitely look to add newer queens. Hey, still on one. Okay, then here we go. Gets a second one. That's a very delayed second queen. Glad you noted that. Robo is going to be spotted. I guess Suppy, he had seen that pylon before, or didn't he?
No, I think this is the first time he saw it.
Which definitely is fortunate here. I don't think that has any room to cancel that here. And as I say, that's he just cancelled. And he's going to throw down the gateways instead, so it's going to be much faster. There goes the analysis, Apollo.
Whoa.
I really thought he was just going to keep that anyway, go for the same kind of, war prism harassment into possibly a 2 to 3 base play, most likely 2, but no.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, but Haas is like, okay, so you've seen the Robo, this type of attack with a robotics facility, it's more than likely going to be an immortal attack, takes a lot longer to execute, rather than this one, it's going to be a lot more, a lot more swift, therefore looking to basically catch Suppy off guard.
Yeah, exactly. And Suppy, his Worldtron is not the fastest, and in terms of overload, he's supposed to have one on the left-hand side, that one path on the very left-hand side of the map where there could be pylons and stuff. That's where you need to have at least an overload to see if a probe comes in and proxies down a pylon. And right now, it's gone undetected out of Haas. He's barely made it through the shadows of this map.
I think Suppy might get stung by this, to be honest.
He's still getting drones right now. Still has no idea.
Yes, this fake was really nice.
What's really good about what Haas has done here is basically realizing that there was not going to be a second overlord standing able to spot anything. So getting stalkers as well is, I was going to say a good choice, but that's only because the units weren't made, because speed is actually already finished. If there was a pack of Lingan on the map and it got a surround on the stalkers, it would be GG immediately, but Suppy hasn't been making units.
16 Zerglings are on the way. He gets a wraparound on one of the stalkers immediately, and he's going to pick off one. Oh, no, he doesn't. Oh, yes, he does. So he gets that one and the probe, but the creep spread is good. It's a good start to the creep spread, but as we can see, Suppy just doesn't really have anything at the moment. He's been droning quite heavily. The Zerglings now coming to come through.
I mean, this is massive over-droning here, what happened from Suppy. 54 drones to 37 probes. You really don't need that many. He's going to have to evacuate the third base, but I mean, he can get targeted down. Has might even head into the main.
No, he's just going to force field and kill off all these drones. He's going to get a lot of them too. There's, what are we talking, 15-ish there. Roaches are on the way as well. We've got 11 of them. 11 roaches. Is that enough to stop this?
I don't think so. There is already so many stalkers down on the map. There is 11 actually stalkers waiting for the roaches. So having the sentries as well, having the zealots.
Oh, the roaches popping out from the third hatchery as well. Very frustrating. One of them just insta-gibbed, and then 3 more to follow it as well. They're going to die very easily as well. So as cool as that 11 did sound, it was actually only about 9 or so or less, as they all got picked off very fast, and the third hatchery goes down. And Suppy, as mentioned, has just been tricked. He didn't see this coming, and it is over as fast as it begun. And Haas is able to equalize this up.
That Robo almost felt like he wanted it to be scouted to go for a cancel, to be honest. Like, Haas was on a very, very low walker count. He wasn't mining much gas at all. He didn't take gases on the natural, and he just wanted to go for a massive attack here, no matter what. And I guess that overload scouting, I thought this was a good thing for Suppy. And in the end, it played right into the hand of Haas here.
Well, I think Suppy's going to know pretty much instantly what happened there. Saw the Robo, no Robo in use, and just got hit hard by that. Well, moving on to the next one then. He can wipe the slate clean. Kind of forget about that one. It's going to be Catalina.
Haas is, as much as he went for, Nexus first, it's really because it was on Vaani, where you can do that very easily, pull it off, and you're going to be safe. Catalina now, we could be seeing something different and crazy. If Suppy save went, for example, for like a rush ling, not only does he get a pull early on to be safe against the cannon rush, but he also could punish or catch Haas off guard sometimes. So there might be a good opportunity to try and mix it up maybe, but I really don't think that starting to play with any kind of greedy build or hatch first will be the way to play here for Suppy.
All right, well, we are loaded into game number 3 between these two players, currently tied at 1 apiece here in the elimination match in the World Championship Series Premier League in Group F, the last remaining group that will be broadcasting from the ESL Cologne studios. And here to the west, as the red Protoss player from Yowie Flash Wolves from Taiwan, it is Haas. Fighting to stay alive in the Premier League here today. As his only second appearance in the WCS Premier League. Down here to the bottom right-hand side, as the blue Zerg player, it is Suppy. In contrast, has played 4 times before today. This is his 5th appearance in the Premier League. Very consistent over the last year or so.
Do you think he has what it takes to be this Taiwanese opponent? So many puns possible. It's really hard to cast this guy. I keep saying has.
A probe out on the map.
Yes, and a forge is going to be made here momentarily. Suppy, pretty sure is going to be heading into a pull first. Would be very surprised if he tries for anything else, really. It's been on 15 so far, almost every single time.
It's a probe.
Not going to be different.
Spotted.
This time. Yeah, the Overlord's vision. Oh, sees the probe on the top right-hand side. He's always going to leave also, like Suppy's second one, you know, around his natural to make sure he sees when it heads inside of there.
Well, Haas staying true to the style he's shown us over the last year or so. He's going to attempt another cannon rush. It worked okay for him in game number 1.
You know what's funny? On this map, cannon rush isn't even supposed to be good because there isn't that much space behind the middle line, but he's just so good at it and he knows every single placement so well. Kind of like SOS, you know? SOS is the one that will, like, behind the gases on the very ledge of the map, always finds that one pylon position where he can wall off a cannon perfectly. That they still go for it anyway and pull it off very nicely. So drones are going to have to be pulled here.
Well, I don't think he's gonna cannon rush. He's got a probe on the natural. He's
the ultimate mind game.
The ultimate.
What's the best thing a cheeser can do is play a macro game.
Oh my god, who said that? A wise old man once said that. The pylon shields down. Suppy sends his drones back. He realizes this is a fake. Was that worth the pylon cost?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. 100s for, you know, drones being pulled and Suppy going into panic mode here for a little bit. Maybe if he had cancelled, it would have been even better because I think drones might have been pulled just a little bit before.
Well, the Nexus now at 50%, a cannon being made, and a probe going to sit in the wall here. Zerglings are already out, and there are 6 of them, so Haas doesn't want to mess this up. Doesn't want to have no money in the bank, because that probe can get killed, and then Zerglings can come through. So he's got control of his probe right now, as you can see. He's got...
Yeah, he should have forced at least, I guess, 1 pylon and then gone back. Yeah. Just to annoy Haas. Keeping those Zerglings there, though, is funny. It's like the stare down. It's forcing the probe to stay there because if it goes back, the links can run in.
What do you think about the gas that Suppy's taken here? He built a gas, then actually decided not to mine it. He got it, and then he went in for a little bit, mined 8 gas, then decided not to.
Maybe, I think he changed his mind because he wanted to go for the 3rd hatchery, and if you mine gas now, you're able to start speed quickly, but then you're kind of broke. And he realized that because Haas opened with Forge, and only now starts a stability score. He doesn't need to rush for speed. There is no threats of anything that could hit him anytime soon. So he says, you know what? I don't need speed yet. I'm going to start it later.
Unless he thought this was like a gateway opening or something, and the pylon was like a complete off.
He did see that pretty late with his second Overlord that went there.
All right, well, we're going to move into the next stage of this game then, as we come close to the 6-minute mark. And it is just going to be the early mid-game, where nothing too exciting is going to happen for the next little bit here. It's just developing, well, Haas developing his strategy.
Suppy seems to like sending his Overlord in at around 6 minutes. And look at this, 6 minutes mark, he sends his Overlord in, which is definitely on the early side of things. Haas, if he has picked up on it, well, he might be able to, again, play to his advantage. And now the Robo is again on the way around the ramp, should be spotted, but then the Stalker will kill that Overlord. Do we see a cancel again?
Well, let's find out. Suppy's Overlord getting closer and closer towards that robotics facility, and he will pick that up. Sees it now. And this is exactly what happened in the previous game, remember. The only difference is that +1 attack did not start, and the gases were not taken this fast in the previous one. So
and it's a much... Like, at this point, the Robo is very much closer to finishing than it was in the previous game. In the previous game, I don't think it was at even a third. Like, this time, I'm pretty sure he won't cancel, okay?
Sentry being built now. Robotics facility is in the game. Extra gateways to follow this up, and it looks very similar to the build from the first map. The Observer first, 3 gateways, +1 attack. Warp Prism to follow this up next. So actually pretty fast 4th and 5th gateway to be added on.
Yeah.
Behind this.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
The Warp Prism with some sentries into massive reinforcements.
Well, you think he can just go for a Warp Prism for the ramp? He can dart for the ramp with 7 gateways?
Reaching that ramp and force fielding it successfully against a Zerg who has crippled around it, at least on the left-hand side, is going to be very difficult, and I think would come in too late. But Wiz has, I mean,
he may try it.
Yeah, sometimes you see these players try for the most ridiculous things and somehow pull it off. And he's going to 7 gates, so you might be totally right.
Okay, let's follow how this Warp Prism works. Hydralisk Den now starting here for Suppy, currently sitting at a total of 56 drones, about to be 57. Creep spread's okay. Spread through the middle of the map very nicely.
The Hydra Den being made very quickly like this by Suppy is definitely going to help. If he can make a bunch of Hydralisks, no matter where he faces, which in this case is a lot of gateways, he's going to do very well. And he already starts making units. Suppy against the 2-base style, he plays very well every single time. Unless he really gets caught off guard like the previous time, I think he does really well. So here, being making as many Zerglings and Roaches as he is now, I quite like his position. As long as he can buy enough time up until he reaches, you know, that critical mass that he needs to defend, well, I think he's going to be okay.
The follow-ups for Haas to play the next part of this game if this does not work. A couple of sentries getting warped into hopefully force field something useful here, but no, they dart straight for the Warp Prism as this is not working out at all here for Haas. Suppy slams that down, but Haas charges for the ramp. Some sentries do unload, but force fields, well, one of them is planted. Zealots.
Yeah. The Zealots are doing quite a bit of damage. He needs to evacuate that 3rd base, but as long as he defends in the main here, Suppy, who has only Zerglings, a bunch of Hydras and Roaches in support on the way, should be okay.
Well, another sentry is going to get picked off there. There's only 3 of them left. They have no energy left. All the drones are being pulled inside this main base to try to hold this sentries.
Too much. Suppy messed up here. He fought with just like 1 Queen, 1 Hydralisk instead of just kiting when there was too many units up the ramp. I can't believe he messed this up like this.
Well, Hydralisk's doing a lot of damage over the force fields there. That 3rd base has been dealt a lot of damage, and there's still sentries to be warped in that are going to force field that ramp again. 2 Hydralisks and 3, 4, 5 Roaches actually get inside the main base here.
Haas was going to win, I think, if he hadn't messed up like this. But now, all of a sudden, this should be defended. He's trying to go for the reverse lockdown here with another force field at the ramp, but loses the Warp Prism. Oh my god, Apollo.
And now every unit here will die.
Did Haas just get eliminated here?
Well, at least he picked off the 3rd hatchery. And look on the bright side of things here. Robotics Bay is on its way, and another Immortal, well, the first Immortal starting, a couple more sentries.
He starts a Robo Bay, so I guess he wants to go for wave number 2 of this all-in.
Yeah.
With a Colossus all-in behind this. I guess he weakens the economy of Suppy quite greatly here. He killed 12 drones plus the 3rd base, which means he has 45 probes against 49 drones, 2 base versus 2 base, which is, I would say, nice for Protoss. But, I mean, as long as Suppy scouts it, he should be able to do okay against it.
And we have an Overseer, very smartly here after Suppy stopping the first attack, moves in, sees it instantly. He had the Infestation Pit on the way anyway. Yeah. We'll see what adjustments he'll make to his setup so far. Roach speed is the first difference after scouting that.
I think Suppy, the best choice he can make here is to go for Vipers with the 3rd base that is retaken. Just take 2 Hive, get some Vipers out against the Colossus, and you're going to do great. Then again, I mean, Haas is the guy who on 2 base always manages to crank out not only Colossus, but Templars. So it's not over yet.
Oh, there's the Hive starting, as you've wisely predicted here. 3rd base on its way, and it's going to start to be useful here for Suppy. He's going to need the lava from that, maybe upgrade his economy a little bit, just stuck at 48 probes. That's a decent army that Haas has.
Yeah. Both players are pretty broke, by the way. Less than 50 workers for both. No Evo for Suppy, who's never going to be able to get +1 missile for his Roaches and Hydralisk, whereas Haas pretty much made the +1 quite early in this game.
The Robotics Bay has been made, it's been seen, but not to be used. Only Immortals have been constructed from this robotics facility, and currently only Roaches are being morphed in here from Suppy.
It kind of looked like Haas couldn't make up his mind, like he was going to go for a Nexus, but then it was blocked, so he's like, you know what, since you blocked it, you're forcing my hand, I'm going to go for another wave of Immortal all-in.
Haas's army's strong, man.
Yeah, he has a lot.
4 Immortals with 8 sentries that are all loaded with energy?
Yeah, it's actually 75 army supply for Haas, 75 for Suppy, so equal, which is better for the Protoss.
Yeah, this is very good here.
Suppy's free. Oh my god! Oh, only
Catches
one roach.
1, 2 roaches there.
Suppy's going for Vipers because he's convinced there's going to be Colossus on the way, but has again played the mind game of saying, you scouted me, I'm just going to adjust. And Suppy thinks he has to fight, so he stays down the ramp. Has could just force field everything out and move up the ramp.
2 force fields on the left there, and
God.
Suppy's out of position. His army's completely on the other side of where they need to be, and Haas walks in. And this is a walk in the park here for Haas. He moves up, he can force field behind him, and very easily take down this base, walk to the main and destroy absolutely everything here. And Haas, who didn't really have the most success with the first push, even though he did grab that third base, which hurt Suppy a lot.
Suppy's going to base trade. He's just going to base trade, which in this case comes down a lot to the army supply, and has, even though he has a little bit less, his army is stronger. He's even getting a Colossus at that robo, which is up the ramp. The double sentry is going to buy him time.
He's going to have 2 force fields here at his disposal. Whether he uses them or not, he uses them, but he kind of keeps a lot of roaches in.
Yeah.
First Colossus on it. He can just run to his main base. He can force field forever.
Yeah. Has can just make a lot of sentries up his main. Actually, he just got supply blocked. He didn't anticipate it, so he didn't make any pylons, but I think he should be fine regardless. Look at the supply now.
Yeah, 2 sentries get warped in here. I think he threw his probes away, so he was able to force field, and he's got 4 sentries. He's got a Colossus dealing damage. He's got an Immortal on the way. And Suppy's going to have a very difficult time breaking up here. His main base has been destroyed, his natural has been destroyed, and on the brink of elimination when it all matters the most, it is Haas, who is holding on like a champ currently, despite Suppy trying to re-expand to the other side of the map. Haas is going to chase Suppy's army down.
He's coming back to clean this up, and in the end, what a great decision from Haas. Not to use that Robo Bay to get any Colossus, just getting more Immortals and attack just before the Vipers were even made, Apollo. Like, the Hive literally finished as he moved up that ramp into the natural. If Vipers had been completed, they could have changed everything. You abduct the Immortals, you kill them, and then it's pure gateway units against lots of Roaches and Hydralisks. Right. You don't win that.
Yeah, and look at all these hallucinated Phoenixes and Colossus. I think Haas knows he's won, and he has won. He stays alive in the World Championship Series here. Evades defeat and evades elimination today, and moves on to the decider match where he will have to face either Naniwa again or Cyril, our 16-year-old Finnish player. But unfortunately, it is the end of Suppy in the World Championship Series Season 1 for 2015, as he must travel back all the way to California. A valiant effort from him in this series. It looked very close, as he was very close to winning.
I have to say, it looks very difficult to play against Haas in PvP, but if I was Zerg, oh boy, would I hate this guy. So hard to predict what he's going to do. You scout it, you put some effort into scouting, you adjust, and then all of a sudden it's something totally different. And it's even really hard to go for any kind of follow-up scout. Like, what's Suppy going to do? Keep on sending overseers in? That's not realistic. They will get sniped by the stalkers, and you will get the information too late anyway. Such a tricky player.
Yeah, just looking at Suppy here, it's like the win was ripped away from him in the last couple of moments there, defending the initial attack.
I really saw this game
dealing with it.
I saw this game as one game where Suppy was going to be able to get Vipers out and then do well, but Haas just goes for the Immortals and hits the perfect timing just right before they can come out and kills him.
You think they're looking at the replay here, do you, Todd?
Yes. Looking at the replay, maybe asking for a bit of advice. Suppy's fluent in Mandarin, so might as well.
Well, very unfortunate there for Suppy. Our last place finisher in today's group will fall down to Challenger and must compete in next season's Challenger matches to hopefully get back into the Premier League where it matters the most. But Haas moves on. We will be having a winner's interview very shortly with Haas once he finishes up here on stage with Suppy. So we'll be looking forward to hearing some words from him. But I know a lot of you on stream have been looking forward to this next match as well, as Naniwa takes to the stage again. We'll be playing very, very shortly here in the winners match against Cyril. That's going to be a good one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so. Both players, they know each other quite a bit. They've played, I've talked with Naniwa, he told me he played in the Cyril Online. They're, I guess, familiar with each other to some extent. Keep in mind, Naniwa wasn't playing for a little bit before he finally came back, so going to be interesting to see this clash of style as well, because they both have their very own specific style in the matchup.
And that will be happening very, very shortly. But before we get into that, Red Eye is standing by on the desk.
Thank you very much, Apollo. Yes, Apollo and Todd there in our commentary booth for our third game of the day. We've got 2 more to come, and the next one is massive. But congratulations first to Has for going through to the last game of the day. Commiserations to Evil Genius's Suppy, who unfortunately heads out of the WCS in Season 1. He'll get another chance, of course. There's another season to come later on in the year. Quick mention for our sponsor this last 3 days, 4 days in fact, Gigabyte, who have been very kind enough to support the WCS. We thank them very much. And also, don't forget, we'd like to hear from you out on social media. So make sure you check in on the Facebook page and send us some tweets on Twitter. Make sure you're using the hashtag #WCS, and of course following the official StarCraft channel at StarCraft. Quick break now, but when we come back, Naniwa will go head-to-head with Cyril for a place in the round of 16.